Shalom family, Most High in Christ bless. Sisters Amira, House of Soldier Othaniel, back with another Photoshop tutorial. So this one, I am going to be going over removing backgrounds and also how to get this grunge look or a more sharper look to leadership images when using them, or any image that you're using if you want that effect. So this is going to be really quick and to the point. Hopefully you can see that it's sharp. I know sometimes on Zoom, it kind of takes the color away from the image. So Lord's will, it'll show up clear for you guys that are watching. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with a new canvas. So let me go ahead and open one up. All right, so I am going to do File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to start off with an image that already has a green screen. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this image of Officer Issachar. And okay, yeah, we're going to use this one. So once that goes away, I'll go ahead and click the check mark and show you guys how to easily remove backgrounds on Photoshop. So the tool that you're going to start off with is going to be the object selection tool. If you right click it, you'll see the other images that may be on your toolbar if it's not already this one. So you have quick object selection tool, object selection, and magic wand. We're going to start on the one that's a square within a dotted square. And at the top, you should see where it says select subject. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then it's going to create a dotted line around the focal point of the image. So as you can see, it does the outlining for you. Like, you don't have to take the time and erase everything with your mouse. That would be very time consuming. But along with the dotted lines, sometimes if you do the select subject, the computer will skip some pieces and try to cut off some things. So right here, you can see that it's a dotted line around this, and then towards the bottom of his garment on that gold area. So I'm just going to drag my mouse and make a square around it. And you can see that those dotted areas went away because I didn't want it to remove that gold part of the garment or this purple side. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go over to the layer and right click on that and click rasterize. This is a very important step. If you don't rasterize it, it won't work. And also, if you try to erase it without doing that, you'll get the pop-up box that says, like, do you want to rasterize it? And just click OK. And that will allow you to remove the background. So now I'm going to do select inverse. Now, the reason I do this is because we want the outside of the dotted line to be removed, meaning the green screen. If I were to do the opposite, it would actually remove Officer Issachar. Excuse me. So I am going to, I already selected select inverse, and then I'm just going to press the delete button on my keyboard. And voila, the green screen is gone for the most part. I'm going to undo that so you guys can see the opposite of what I was saying. So I'm going to do select inverse again. And now if I press delete, it leaves a shadow of where he was on the image. Now, if you were doing something else, or maybe you just wanted an outline of something from a picture, doesn't have to be leadership per se, but you could just click on the paint bucket tool and you can select whatever color you want. And you can actually just color that in if you wanted to, if you were doing something else. But I'm going to undo that. And since we're just focusing on the background, I'm going to make sure I have object selection tool here. I'm going to right click and do select inverse again, press delete, and there you go. Now, before you start doing anything else, you do want to get rid of this dotted line. So still have object selection tool selected over here. Otherwise, if you click on something else, it's not going to allow you to remove the dotted lines. So I just right click and do deselect so that I'm able to do other things. Otherwise, it won't work. So now you can see that there's little green areas that are still there that we want to get rid of. So to do that, I'm going to go to the eraser tool and right click that and do magic eraser tool. And that's pretty simple. You just click on the area you want erased. You do have to be careful because you don't want to like click on the garment or anything and have that removed. If you do, you can just click edit, undo, or Command Z and it'll undo it for you. So I'm just gonna click on these major green areas that I see to get rid of those. Now, of course, you can still see some of the green outlined on the beard. So I'm going to go back over to eraser tool. And if you do Command plus and zoom in, or you just click view and zoom in, I can have a closer look of where that green is. So I'm going to start erasing some of that. And you can also remember when you're erasing, make sure you have one of these selected. It's usually the best to blend things in. But you could scale it up, scale it down, depending on how much you need to erase. You can also change the opacity. So I'm going to show you how that affects things as well. I think I may have showed it on my last video, but I can show it on here too. So right here, opacity is at 100. You see it took a chunk out of the garment. Whereas if I change the opacity to, let's say 19, you can barely see where it was erased. So I'm going to go ahead and just start erasing the beard here. And increase the opacity a little bit more. Okay. So there, just to get some of that green removed is what we're gonna do. And then I'm gonna come over here and remove some of that too. And oftentimes what I do, when I run into this issue to where, let's say I have a lot of green showing and I need to erase, I do tend to stick with a darker background so that it can better blend and it doesn't stand out as much. Whereas if I had a white background, you would probably see more of the green. But here I'm just erasing. And then do the same down here. Of course, I'm not gonna make it perfect just because it's a tutorial, but you get the gist of it. So I'm gonna do Command minus or zoom out. And you can see that the green screen is done. If I was doing this for a real ad, I probably would have tweaked how I erased the beard just because I don't like how that looks right there. But you eventually get the hang of erasing certain things after you've done it for so many times. So now I'm going to show you how I got this sharper look on the garment. I made like the folds stand out. And it has more like an embossed look, if you will. This is one of the radio ads I recently did for Officers Arrive for the radio show in Phoenix. So this one I'm gonna use the same steps that I did to do that image. So you're gonna make sure the layer is selected, go to the top and click on filter and click camera raw filter. And I start with the basics tab. Now I don't use all of these all the time, but the main ones that I do focus on are texture. And if you toggle that back and forth, you can see the difference. So it's making certain things stand out. You can see the beard is more sharp and clarity. That will also give a grungier look as well. The haze, that's a hit or miss. For this one, it's a miss. Clearly don't like how that looks, but you know, you can play around with different things just to get the look that you're going for. You could play around with this if you want it, shadows, highlights, whatever. You can pretty much play around with it. If you go to detail, you can sharpen it a bit more. Sometimes when I want a sharp effect, but I still want the picture to look a little smooth, I do noise reduction. And so you can see it's smoother, but it's still pretty sharp. So that's another option for you. It's a ton of other things you can do. Another one, if you want that grainy look, you can do that. So there's a ton of different things that you can do. But these are the main things that I tend to adjust. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now you can see that it's sharper, the picture stands out more. And when you do this, because the officer is standing out, like the colors are popping more, you can pretty much do whatever with a background, because he'll be less likely to blend in unless you like sharpen the background as well. But this is very straightforward and to the point of how I make my images sharp. Lord's will, this helped you guys out with doing that on your images, and I will see you all on the next tutorial. Shalom.